Let's understand the retrogression of planets. To understand that, I'll give an example, a simile probably, which can sort of put things in perspective. When you're traveling by train, you will see that the land and the trees and the entire, the scenic beauty sort of seems to go backwards. Okay, they appear as if they are traveling backwards. They appear as if they are traveling backwards. There is no real movement of those mountains or the trees or the stations. They are just there, but they appear as if they are going backwards. This is exactly what happens when the Earth passes by a planet. So a planet is in a stationary position, and because Earth is moving a little faster, it may just pass over that planet and go ahead. And what will appear from Earth's perspective is as if that planet is moving backwards. But there is no phenomenon actually happened like that. The planet has been stationary. The body that has been moving is actually the Earth. So Earth has moved forward, and it appears as if the other planet has moved backwards. So this entire phenomenon, the celestial phenomenon is called as retrogression. Okay. So now every now and then you will have somebody talking about some planet's retrogression. And in the Indian, astrology specifically, they make a huge hue and cry about retrogression. So currently the retrogression that is being talked about is Mercury. So I have sort of, I have always thought about every phenomenon, whenever I saw any such kind of a phenomenon, I also always used to go into the depth of it and try and understand if it was really making any sense. In fact, I just didn't go into the retrogression of, Mercury or Venus or Mars. I have even gone into the retrogression of Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. And I found that it actually makes no sense at all. There is no meaning. There is no significance actually of a retrogression, simply because there is no phenomenon that actually happens. So how can anything happen when there is nothing that has happened? Okay, that is a question. So it's only an apparent movement, or it's just an illusion that a planet appears to retrograde, but actually it does not. So if it does not happen, then why will it make anything happen at all? Okay, there is a question. So I have seen the retrogression of a planet, if it was making any sense, in hundreds of charts. Looking at, let's say, a Mercury retrograde in a person's 7th house. Okay, is it impacting in a negative way or a positive way? It was not making any difference at all. Okay, the same effect was there, even if it was retrograde or even if it was direct. The impact was the same. So just because a planet was retrograde wasn't accentuating or amplifying an impact, or because it was retrograding, it was not reducing an impact. So all of this factors about retrogression is not really, I would say, not clinically proven with examples. If you have examples, a few hundreds of examples to show that it really works, then we can accept it as a truth. Otherwise, it will remain a myth. So what I've seen is that over a period of time in my learning astrology, what I found is that in Indian astrology, or even in Western astrology, because we don't use all the variables of astrology. The Western astrologers, the Indian astrologers don't use planets like Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. So they don't have enough variables to explain things. So because they don't have enough variables to explain things, then they get into all the other possible explanations like retrogression, Sade Sati, Kal Sarp Yoga and all that. Okay, so all of these are myths. So one of the myths is the retrogression. We'll talk about more myths later. And the Western astrologers, of course, also don't use some more bodies which I talk about. There has to be 12 zodiac planets for 12 zodiac signs. So they are also missing 4 planets. Okay, so probably that is also another reason why. So because the complete variables are not available, and that's the reason there has been so many myths which have been floating around, and one of the myth is retrogression.